Day, but we welcome now Representative Rodney Hall, serves in the Mississippi House of Representatives for District 20. Hey there, Representative Hall.
Gerard, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. So the session is now over, the first session of this 4-year term. You were newly elected this past November to serve the good people of DeSoto County. What'd you think?
Yes, sir. I tell you what, it was a very large learning curve, but it went off very well.
Okay. So anything in particular that you would say, well, that's what I expected, and anything that you encountered, you said, gosh, I didn't think about that. I didn't think I'd run into that.
There's a lot of those moments that happened over the past few months. I will tell you, I felt somewhat confident coming in just from having legislative experience up there with Congressman Trent Kelly, but it's different. The processes, there's some minute changes and differences, even though the language and the procedure are somewhat similar between the different echelons of government. But yes, I'll tell you what, a bill can change at the very last minute.
Yeah, no doubt about that. We saw a lot of activity, lots of bills and lots of high-profile sort of bills, impactful sort of bills, ranging from school choice and education to, of course, overhauling the education funding formula. We had lots of debate on the prospect of expanding Medicaid. Of course, there was a lot of talk about what to do about the public employees' retirement system. My friend Representative Hank Zuber continues to push for some reforms in the alcohol laws in the state of Mississippi. On our air here, he said we need to get in the 21st century not so long ago. Just to name a few, what were you particularly focused on this time, Representative Hall?
Well, Gerard, one thing that I just really appreciated and came in with a very fresh breath of optimism was at the onset of the session, with Speaker Jason White really talking about taking big swings and trying to accomplish things for Mississippi. And putting, partisan politics aside and really going after the meat and potatoes of the stuff that affects people at their kitchen table. And so, we started the session off with, 2 major economic development projects, which was huge, historic for Mississippi. And, I want to see us do more of that. And specifically, while we look at economic development, we've shown that Mississippi has the ability to attract these big corporations, Amazon Web Services, et cetera. But then I also want us to take a look at, our Mississippi homegrown businesses. I mean, we have companies out there like Whisper that was founded here in Mississippi, or Delta Dry that's in Leland, Mississippi, that have the ability to scale and has the ability to help us grow our economy if they have a little bit of support as we do with some of these other corporations that we try to entice and encourage to come here.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was exciting in January when the governor called 2 special sessions to authorize a package for 2 gigantic economic development projects, one the largest in the state's history, the other, I believe, the 3rd largest. So that was absolutely a great way to kick off the session. But then, as you say, the speaker, he took some big swings. We also should talk about taking another swipe at repeal of the Certificate of Need laws in the state of Mississippi. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything done there. We kind of had a scaled-down version of that where it would focus on just a couple of practice areas, mainly dealing with mental health, but couldn't seem to reach any agreement there.
No, we didn't this year. But, one thing that I am encouraged about is the appetite to take these big swings to move Mississippi forward materially, not just incrementally. Yeah. And even in regards to, the Certificate of Needs laws and some of the other matters that we're focusing on, I think now is the time to lean into conservative policies that work and that have proven track records of working in other areas, and see how we can fine-tune that to make it apply to Mississippi, and then start to really go after some of the big projects.
Yeah, I totally agree. What did you think about the, I think, a major accomplishment in the overhauling of the education funding formula?
Yeah, no, I think it really just falls right in line with, kind of the progress that we've had recently. You look at literacy scores and test scores and graduation rates, and Mississippi and, our leadership, I give them a lot of credit, really invest a lot of time and effort into ensuring that our children, our kids, are prepared for the economy that they're going to face tomorrow when they're competing in the global market, whether they're at home or somewhere else. And so I think those are steps in the right direction. I'm really encouraged and optimistic for how this is implemented, and I want to see the metrics on the backside of it.
Yeah. School choice, education freedom is something else that we had another go at, but really didn't get anything accomplished there. Where do you stand on that, Representative Hall?
There's so many different versions of school choice out there. I think we have to kind of narrow in on what we're talking about specifically. Full disclosure, House Bill 1341 was a school choice type of bill that was for military families. We have a lot of military families that come in and, they're kind of restricted to the base. And so that bill was passed. It was signed by the governor, and that will go into effect in June 1st. And so that is one of those small scopes or nuanced approaches to school choice. As small as our state is, it's still very much diverse, and the regions are very much different. And so we have to look at, not just an overcharacterization on, some policy pulled off the shelf from another state, but we need to go in and really study it and see what works in our state and for really the different regions that we have, all the way from 55 down to the coast. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's something, as you know, has been discussed in the Capitol for some time. We do have some elements of what would be considered school choice and education savings accounts that are in place now for special needs children and dyslexic kids as well, but really don't go beyond that. There was a bill, as you know, that came out of the Education Committee chaired by Representative Rob Robertson and Vice Chair Kent McCarty that would have phased in universal school choice, but looks like that didn't go very far, and I think the next step is perhaps to continue to study the issue a little further as far as that is concerned.
And, one thing that we have seen, at least this first year, is that, everything's on the table. And that's a good thing because it opens up the dialogue so that we can really get to solutions that work for Mississippi. Yeah. And so that is something to be encouraged about as we continue to move forward in multiple domains of government.
Yep. Before we go here, the prospect of expanding Medicaid, as it is called, Medicaid expansion, that got a lot of attention on both sides of the Capitol. At the end of the day, couldn't come together in conference, and so nothing got done there. I know you're an opponent of Medicaid expansion. What do you think?
Yeah, of course, I'm on record voting no against it. I am against Medicaid expansion, at least in the current form that we've seen. One of the big things I just kind of had a very big challenge with was the past 10 years we hadn't had a discussion on it, and then we were almost past something in 60 days. And then even though I'm not on the committee that discusses Medicaid expansion, I did go in and sit in on some of the conference, negotiations. And, I saw a bunch of numbers being thrown out and studies. But, I would like to have the ability for us to question the validity of that or to kind of scrutinize the writer or the proponent of it as opposed to just taking off literature, from the Internet and try and make a judgment that's going to apply across the state for, potentially decades to come.
Yep, gotcha. Representative Rodney Hall, appreciate you joining us today on Middays. You have a good one. I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon. Take care.
Hey, you as well, Gerard, and happy Mother's Day to all our mothers.
Absolutely. Coming right back, folks, in the Element Well studio. It's Carter Jewelers remote today.